Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, to the Passive Money Podcast. Alex and Kirby here. If you guys haven't seen our channel before, we're just normal guys. We've navigated ourselves out of the paycheck to paycheck lifestyle. And we're going to be sharing a story with you from Kirby. So, Kirby, got a question. Um,
hmm
what was your step-by-step process, if you've got one step-by-step, on getting your first rental property?
All right. Well, that's a good question. My first rental property, it was funny how it came about. But anyway, I was doing some remodeling on my house, and the contractor, he asked me, did I know anything about rental properties? And I said, yeah, I knew something about them because my father, he dabbled in rental properties. And then he was telling me about a location where they had condos for sale and told me it might be an interesting place. But at the time, the place wasn't quite that war zone where you don't want to avoid, but it was damn near close. But actually, it was it was actually about less than 5 minutes from my house. I've been here for a couple of years and I never heard anything about the place,
What state?
so it wasn't that bad.
What state was this in?
Florida,
Florida?
Florida's my first rental. Yeah, Florida. Yeah, and then so it was a couple minutes away from my house. That's why I never heard about the place. So I was like, well, it can't be that bad. I'm from Detroit. I've seen bad, but it can't be that bad. So then he told me about the place, but it was something funny happened. A friend from Detroit comes down and then they say, hey, meet me at my cousin's house. I meet him at their cousin's house, and their cousin's house happened to be the same place where he was telling me to invest. So I go there. I'm just at the cousin house. I didn't know nothing, paying no mind. It didn't click till I was there. I was like, oh, this is where he was telling me to invest. But I go in there, cousin house. I mean, cousin's condo looked great. Had the plank flooring, the whole nine. And then I didn't bring up nothing about investing then either. But the cousin was telling me like, yeah, I'm renting this place. I'm renting it for $1,100 a month, but the owner only paid 35,000. My light bulb started going off. The investor finance guy and me, light bulbs like, you know, I was like, okay. So I'm doing the numbers in my head and I'm thinking like, wait, what the hell? And then so I leave there. So they, drinking, having fun. I was like, hey, I gotta go home. I went home to the calculator because public school, there's only so much I can do in my head. So I'm at home on a calculator, running it. And I'm looking at it like, hey, I could buy this for 35, 40,000, and then I'm getting 20% cap rate on it. And then so I get home, I run the numbers from the little knowledge that I knew. I'm running the numbers, and then uh, I look at the property online. I look at the property online, and it was one that was exactly right across the street from where her cousin was. I don't know when the owner of their property bought theirs, but they had one for sale for 50,000. So they had one for sale for 50,000. So I called because Zillow, if it's sell by owner or the real estate agent, the contact number is in that little feature. So I just called the real estate agent, and then I just start talking the deal. I was just like, hey, sell the property. He was like, yeah, for 50. I think he said 54,000. I said, I'll give you 50,000 in cash. And this is exactly what I did. I just said, hey, I'll give you 50,000 cash because I had the cash. But then understand the market was different than it is now. Then cash talked because the houses wasn't flying off the market like they are now.
Right.
So I said, hey, I'll give you 50,000 in cash. I didn't even see the property yet, but then we came to an agreement, gentleman's agreement, because I didn't sign a contract yet. So I went and looked at the property. I walked through, the real estate agent wasn't there. Imagine that. But I talked to the tenants and stuff like that. They let me know what's wrong with the property and things of that nature. So I was, calculating in my head, like, hey, what I might need to do to the property. But the tenant kept the property damn near immaculate. Changed the air filters twice a month. If you FYI, if you can get an air filter, you can get a tenant to change the air filter once every 3 months, you win it. But she was changing it twice a month, taking very good care of the place. But because it's coming out of financial crisis, investors or, owners was looking at, liquidate the property at any price. They didn't even care. And then I guess he was making a deal because right across the street they were selling for 35,000. I don't know how long that time frame was, but then I was buying for 50,000. But anyway, so after that, I look at the property. I called a real estate agent. I said, "Hey, yeah, let's do the deal." And then we did the deal. We signed the contract on a Tuesday. On a Tuesday, that Thursday, I went in, and that's funny. That's the first property I ever went in to close on. That wasn't a property that I lived in, and that was the last property I ever went in because every property after that I did it virtually or remotely. But so that was Thursday. Paperwork was already in because, of course, when you don't have a mortgage, you don't have to deal with that 30, 45-day stuff. And it was a condo. So most of the roof, the outside of the building, all that's covered by the HOA and, condo association. So I didn't have to worry about that aspect of it. The only thing I had to worry about was everything inside the four walls. So that's refrigerator, cabinet, sinks, dishwasher, AC unit, hot water tank, nothing major. So closed in on that deal, went and closed that on that. And then that was my first dabble in a rental property. And then the truth of it, if we just going off of things that I wish I would have done different, not that it's a bad thing, I really didn't focus on the total ROI until after I had the deal done. I mean, people think ROI is, oh, well, how many years is it going to take me to pay off this property to get all my money back? When I first was looking at it, I was looking at cash flow. But then once I ran the numbers again, I was like, well, for 50,000, I'll have this property. I'll get my money back, within 5 years. And that wasn't even including increasing the rents and things like that. But that was my first venture into my first rental property. It was fairly straightforward, and it's because I was using cash. It was fairly straightforward, and the market was nothing. When I say nothing, nothing like it is now. So I mean, it wasn't all the haggling, all the getting outbidded, all the hey, let me come in above ask just to get my deal across. It was people selling, they had an asking price. You give them the asking price, you sold it. Not, hey, I have an asking price, you give them an asking price. Okay, I'm gonna wait to see if somebody gonna bid a higher price. So it was pretty straightforward on my first rental property.
So I have a couple questions from that. What was your total ROI from paying 50,000?
So my return on investment. So I paid 50 after it all said and done. It had a couple closing fees. I think I came out of like 53.6. That was my total price. 53.6. The tenant was paying 960 a month. 960 a month minus the $300. 150 for HOA fees, 150 for condo fees. So I was leaving there with 660. Insurance was super cheap. Insurance was super cheap in condos. And then of course the property taxes at the end of the year. So all in all, I say minus the taxes, I was netting or cash flowing about 600 a month. 600 a month. And you know how I do it. I only times it by 10. I don't times it by 12 because the last 2 months, November, December, or the 2 months out of the 12 months, that really goes to property taxes and insurance. So that's 600, that's 600, 650, 600, 650 times 10. So that's 6,500. 6,500 divided by 54,000 or 53,000 change is
12%. Yep.
so 12%. That's what my ROI was, 12% on that property.
And that's not
So
considering, like you said, raising rents, throughout the
right.
years, which
Yeah, and that was just starting out. I mean, that's that same unit right now could go for $1,900 a month, and I still pay the same 53,000. It can go for 1,900 a month. I don't charge my tenants top of the market rent because it's the same tenant there. Now, if that tenant moved out, would I raise the rent a lot higher? Yeah, but I mean, I'm getting a great ROI, especially now the tenant is paying way, way more than $950 a month, $960 a month, or whatever they was paying when we first started. But
Right.
they're not paying at the top of the market either. So the ROI is great. The money is great. Cash flow great. Great tenant. She's still taking care of the place just like it was um, when I first bought the place. So I have no complaints at all with that.
So with her taking care of the place, there was like I know we've spoken about this, factoring in other expenses um other than just closing costs and your down payment or purchase price. There was no other expenses since she kept the place intact as far as like damages, any repairs, nothing like that.
But no, damages wise, no. I mean, I can literally, I've had that property since 2016, and I can literally say I can tell you every issue that's been there. We've had one time the AC unit froze over. That cost me about 125 bucks. Um, we've had her daughter was super cool. Her daughter's super cool. She has a lot of clothes, and I don't care. And she overloaded the closet with clothes, and then the closet rack,
Yeah.
closet rack broke. I spent like $10 to fix that. Um, I fixed one of the drawers because the condo association or whatever shut off the water. They cut on the water in the morning. It was off, and then or they cut on the water. It didn't come on, and they left it on, and then went back to sleep, woke up, and then like a cabinet was broken, and then I got that fixed, damn near free of charge. I probably paid like $20 for that. Besides that, I put new washer and dryer in the place. This is all 2000. This is all 2016,
Yeah.
and from there, it's been really nothing. It's
Yeah.
just been really nothing. Providing, I mean, but anytime they call me, I will be there. But really, there haven't been really no major issues where I'm sitting there like, oh my God, why did I buy this place? I mean, I've had other properties where I'm buying AC units and stuff like that. And no, it's been this first property, actually my first property probably is my best one. Honestly, as far as tenant wise, that's probably my best one.
And so you manage that property yourself. You don't pay property management.
Yes, I manage that property myself. Only reason why I manage it myself is because it's, like I said, it's close to my house. But I mean, once you start getting into multiple properties, especially in different locations throughout the state, unless you love to drive and want to be driving around with a two belt around your waist all day, which I don't. I hire property managers for all of them. If it's close and it makes sense, then I'll keep that 10%, 8% property management fee to myself. And then, of course, in the local area, I have I have contractors that, and this goes back to that previous video you said about building relationships and on your how to start an online business is building relationships. You don't have to be the smartest man in the room about everything, but you need to know people that know
Right.
different areas. So, I have network of people that have, like Dave Ramsey called it, the heart of a teacher. You know what I mean? So I have contractors that's willing to teach me or tell me how to fix something instead of saying, "Hey, just hire me and you just pay me."
Right.
And so that is a big asset I have, but that's again building relationships. So if it's something that I can do and I call, a contractor that I have, and then he'll be like, "No, you can do that." And then there's no sense to pay me.
Right.
You can do that, and then this is how you do it, and then go do it, and then I'll do it. No problem. But that's really how it works, and that's how I operate. I'm big on building relationships with people, especially when it comes to business building
Right.
relationships and having just the people in the know-how. Because me, I don't know nothing about. Well, I know a little bit about plumbing and home building and stuff now because of the people that I know, but starting out, I had no clue about nothing. But if you go in blind and you don't build relationships and you just think, hey, I'm gonna call somebody, they're gonna rob you blind every time. I mean, even now with the other properties I have property managers that I gotta tell when they say, hey, an AC unit costs $7,000, and I say, no, it don't. Call these people here, and they'll pay, and they'll do it for this amount.
Right.
That's just that's how it is, and so that's just the nuance of it and how it all works out.
Okay. And so since you paid cash, how long did it take to close?
Because I paid cash, it took like 3 days to close. I mean, when you're using a bank, it takes that long time, that 30 to 45-day close there is because the bank needs an appraisal, the bank needs an inspection, the bank has to run your credit history and yada yada yada. The bank got to see if you can hold money in an account for a certain amount of time. I could have financed. I could have put 20% down, 20% down of 50,000. I could put 12,000 down, but it really wasn't 12,000, 50,000. The number really wasn't that big. But if you can have if you have the time and somebody's willing to finance at that level, great. You get better ROI that way. But I just said $50,000, $12,000 wasn't that big of a gap. So and I know people saying $50,000, $12,000 is a lot of money. I know. But in my mindset was, hey, why carry debt on something, especially a new venture that I personally knew nothing about. Like I said, my family, dealt in real estate, but I knew nothing personally about. So I said, why not take the risk, put the 50,000 there, and then I could just focus on collecting rent and dealing with the tenant and stuff like that, and not sitting there sweating at night, wondering, oh, can I pay the mortgage? Can I pay the mortgage? Can I pay the mortgage? And it worked out fine. But that 30 to 45-day gap is more for the bank purpose than your purpose. But when you pay it in cash, it's for a condo, and it's probably more faster if you just buy a regular house. But they had to get the estoppel and things like that. So, but besides that, it's just, hey, this is the property. We're closing. I did a walkthrough. We good to go. Title, and honestly, so when you close it in a bank, it's like 30 to 45 sheets of paper you got to sign. When you
Right.
close it in cash, it's only 3 sheets of paper, maybe even 2 sheets of paper that you got to sign, and then game's over. You already own the house, free and clear, and there's no banks or nobody else you got to answer to. Get some insurance on the place, of course, and going about life.